You got to be able to drive home your point, get it across the right way, very clearly, understand your product, and know why it's going to help that person.
And by the way, you don't have
that should have already happened at the elevator.
By the way, you don't have that whole 15 minutes to drive it home. You have the first 3 minutes to drive home why they need you. Because hey guys, I'm Pernell. That's Devin. We are Seven Tree Media.
What's up?
So Devin, what's happening on today's show?
We are here to talk about having the right conversations inside of your sales process. This is part 2 of a series that we're working on breaking down your sales process, helping you get in front of the right people with the right message.
We can't say part 2. We don't know how many parts this is.
It's part 2 of.
How many parts though?
Who knows?
1,000,003?
Yeah.
Part 2 of 1,000,003.
So that's why we don't say the second half. We just say part 2.
I see. We got to keep all this in. He thinks I'm joking. Keep it in.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
So the last episode was pretty much all about you. Like this one's kind of mine, man. This one is all about
This is your area, man.
how to have the right conversations.
Yeah.
Now it depends on where we're talking. If we're talking a quick elevator pitch, again, one of the things I don't like doing. I'll introduce myself, say hi. That's pretty much it. I'm more of, I'm for a guy that's outspoken as I am and has as many contacts and has as many conversations as I do. I'm very to myself when it comes to things like that. And I think that stems from me just not wanting to impose anything on anybody else, right? I will never, I'm not going to say never. I never say never. I'll probably not ever just reach out to somebody in an elevator and do the whole cold calling and that whole stigma behind it, right? I like to have the right conversations in the right places. Because when you're talking about having the right conversations, we also have to talk about the right locations.
Context.
The right time to have them. The right people to have them with, right?
Right.
I'm never going to have a 5-star conversation with an assistant that are somebody's third assistant, or somebody's second cousin on their mother's side for a guy that owns a company that I want to talk to. Yeah. I'm never going to do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm never going to let secondhand information get to somebody else first. My whole thing is put me in front of the person, and I'll do the rest.
Why is that so important?
That is important because first and foremost, you don't want any misinformation going out.
Right.
You don't want anything to be said or promises being made that you didn't personally give.
Right.
Of course, being in a partnership with you, I trust you 100%. You trust me 100%. So our words are different than, like I said, somebody's assistant and they're talking to their boss now, right?
Yeah.
What you really want to do is develop these relationships over time. And whether that time be a week, a day, a month, 10 years, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have enough, I'm going back to it again, the rapport, man. As long as you have enough rapport and enough social standing with that person to have these conversations. The analogy I like to use is the janitor doesn't talk to the president. A janitor of a high school doesn't talk to the president of the school board.
Right.
Right. However,
he has a manager.
He has a manager to talk to.
Yeah.
He has somebody you can always go up the chain, right? Yeah. So you always want to work your way up the chain, giving up just enough information to get you to the next level.
To find the right person.
Yes, right? Because I never want to talk to the CEO of a company. I want to talk to the marketing manager.
Right.
Right? I've been tossed over to CEOs many times, and it's been like, we've had great conversations, and at the end of it, I say, listen, I'm not going to pitch you anything, I'm not going to sell you anything because you're not the person to do it. You're going to have to kick this back to the person I need to talk to. Right? I'll give you the information, and yes, you're going to want the information. I'll certainly give you the package. But I'm not going to discuss in detail about it because these are things that you not only don't need to be bothered with, but you don't want to be bothered with.
Well, and more to that is when you pass on all of the right information to somebody who has to take it to somebody else, you're at risk of the telephone game, right? Where it's when you say this thing to this person, they're going to have to translate to the next person in a different language because they understand and operate in the world differently than you. So the words that they're going to use could change the way that lands for the next person down the chain and so on and so forth.
Their language
very easily get twisted.
Yes, their language could influence the perception that their boss has of you without you even meeting them. Right? Or the person you want to talk to without them even meeting you. And that's one of the things I've tried to be very careful about. When you're cultivating these relationships, right?
Yeah.
And like I keep saying, I'm always in a relationship with these businesses or with these other people because first of all, I want to be. We're never going to go into business with people we don't want to be in or companies we don't support fully.
Yeah.
Right. And that's another big thing
about
about having
research and vetting process for our own sales process.
Exactly.
Which we'll get into in another video in this series.
Right. So having the right conversations, that leads right into it as well, right? You're not going to go for a week-long trip to the mountains with another couple. Let's say you're married with another couple that you don't have similar interests in.
Yeah, you didn't.
Right?
You just met them.
You just
don't
met
know
them.
who they are, and you're
No
going on
fucking
a
clue.
long-term vacation with
Exactly. And harking back to the first episode, right?
You don't want to get locked in a room with somebody you don't know because
100%. 100%.
so quickly derail.
Right. So harking back to the first episode that we did, you want to be with people that are on your team. Right. You want to work with the people that are on your team. And that becomes with similar interests, similar lifestyle, similar, there's a bunch of, so similar social standing. And there's this whole thing of act as if.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I never have. And I think that's where you and I first butted heads. And let's tell this story a little bit. When we first met, we didn't really butt heads. We understood each other's path because it was the same path we're on. But the strategies toward them were so different.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
As we addressed in the first episode, you're very robotic. And I use that in a good way, by the way.
Yeah.
You're very robotic. You're mechanical.
And I like structures.
Yes.
I think that following systems and structures helps you achieve goals because it outlines things. And so that's why I create that. Right. Which we'll get to the point of this.
Exactly. And I'm the guy that's free flowing. I roll with the punches, I'm more of a chameleon, and I hate to use that term as well.
Right.
Whatever
will be.
I am who I am, but I'm also very interested in what companies are offering and what they're doing and how they're doing. So I love marketing. I love helping businesses and people that want the help, need the help, appreciate the help, and can understand what the process is behind the help.
So knowing that you bring enough value to the table right from the beginning helps you have the influence and power to say no to a customer
and the confidence
that isn't going to gel with you. So
yeah,
and that all comes from having the right conversations with the right people. So I want to break this down into kind of 3 different categories for people watching, so that you get a clearer idea of where this works and how this works. So the first one being the types of conversations that you're going to be having. The first one being the elevator pitch. We hate the elevator pitch, which is why it's going to be real simple. I'll kick that one off. But then when you have to have that 10-minute or 15-minute conversation to move you to the next step, which is that hour-long conversation where you can really drive home the details of something. So how do you transform from the top to the bottom? So I'll kick this off with the first one being when you're having that elevator pitch. I hate elevator pitches. I just want to make sure that when I meet somebody for the first time, I listen to every word they say, because in what they say, they're going to eventually, at some point in time, communicate to you an area in which they are struggling, which opens up the opportunity for me to be like, hey, listen, I think I can help you with that. If you have time, we'll set up the 15-minute conversation.
I think this may shock people. 80% of the people that meet a new person forget that person's name within the first 30 seconds. Right. 30 seconds. I've taken it upon myself, and I used to do this all the time as well. I would literally hear chirping in my ears when somebody's like, "Hi, my name is."
Yeah.
One of the big things I had to do to get over that is I would make sure I'm present, extremely present in that conversation. Right. If I have a drink in my hand, I'm putting the drink down. If I have my hands in my pocket, I'm taking them out. I'm leaning. If I'm sitting down, I'm leaning forward. I'm engaging them. I'm looking in their eyes. I'm making sure that I'm completely there, present in the moment with them, so I understand their name.
Because you're focused on what they're saying rather than on what you're going to say next, which is a crucial part that is the subtlety that everybody misses in all of it.
I'm listening to respond to what he's saying or she's saying. I'm not listening to pitch them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm listening to respond to exactly what they're saying. And listen, and Devin's had trouble with this the first few meetings we were in together. He wants to jump right to business. Never skip the small talk.
This was the Michael Scott move.
This was...
You've never watched that.
Right?
The Office.
Yeah.
He's making that sales call with somebody. He spends the entire evening having fun with that person, and then later on moves into it where his opposing team member was trying to go right to the business. And that was me going right for the business.
And let me tell you, for me, the long approach has always been the best approach, because when you include fun or you include similarities or you have commonalities, and you can find some place to connect, that will take you much, much further than, hey, I'm selling you this, it's really going to help your company.
Right.
Because when you're dealing at a level, there's only so many levels of business you can get to. When you get to the very top Fortune 500s, they want to know who you are in your personal life. Do you have kids? Are you married? What are you doing for fun? Right? They want to be able to connect with you, and because they're going to give you the money, I think, if the sales pitch goes well at that final time, regardless. So for me,
the product sells itself.
Exactly. So leading up to all that, my job is to make sure that they understand I'm a human, and they know that I know they're a human. They're not just a piggy bank. bleeping piggy bank. Right?
that comes from an extreme practitionership of patience. And patience is a practice. It's something that you have to practice all the time in any industry.
I feel like he's talking to me right now.
Whether or not you're in B2B or B2C, it is very important to be patient and listen to whatever your customer is telling you. It doesn't matter if you're selling T-shirts to people or you're selling,
luxury yachts.
Luxury yachts. Like, it doesn't matter as long as you listen to the person and figure out what it is exactly they need.
Because you're eventually going to get to business. Excuse me. Don't ever think that somebody's going to run out on you because you're making a connection with them and you haven't got to the business yet. Oh no, this person's on a time constraint. Blah blah blah. Okay, so what if they are on a 15-minute or half an hour time constraint, or they're getting on a fucking airplane in 20 minutes? Let that happen, right? There's always other ways to reconnect.
This is why it's important to understand that if you're having an elevator pitch, you got to listen real quick and offer help and leave it there. It's like, listen, there's something I think I can help you with right here, so let me help you. Let's meet some other time. Now, if they only have a 15-minute time slot where they can give you got to be able to drive home your point, get it across the right way, very clearly, understand your product, and know why it's going to help that person.
And by the way, you don't have
that should have already happened at the elevator.
By the way, you don't have that whole 15 minutes to drive it home. You have the first 3 minutes to drive home why they need you. Because in those meetings, you're going to notice the first 5 minutes is small talk, and the last 5 minutes is closing up small talk. You have 5 minutes right in the middle where you can make everything perfect and everything seem like, yes, everything's got to count. Everything has to be on point 100%. You have to be prepared. As you'll notice, the cadence of my voice speaking, the cadence of Devin's voice speaking, I don't even know this guy's name. You'll notice
That's how long we've been in business.
Exactly. You'll notice that, the way I speak and my cadence and my volume and the way I come across is very personable. And when I bring in Devin to a meeting, it's like, we'll get all the small talk out of the way, and then I'll be like, okay, well, now that all that's out of the way, once I find a reasonable time, whether that be 20 minutes or 3 hours into that meeting, I'll find a reasonable time and be like, okay, now I'm going to toss this over to Devin. He'll get into the business stuff. Simple as that. It is really simple. We sat and talked with one of our clients, the very first one we walked into. No, sorry, the second one. One of the second ones we walked into, I think. We sat there for 45 minutes waiting for our other partner to come in. Right, we sat there, had small talk.
Yeah, you have to have when you're forced to have a conversation that is awkward,
and that we didn't
in nature.
Yeah,
because you're waiting for somebody to show up.
I mean, we could have got into it right away, but
it makes it really tough to carry on. You can't get right to business. You need the other partner, so now you have 45 minutes of time to waste trying to have this conversation to make that room for that. And I don't ever recommend doing something like this. This is a very extenuating circumstances, but
I'm just saying,
the
like,
ability
for the
to socialize with a person goes a long way.
The ability to have a fully functioning conversation with somebody is going by the way the dodo, and if you don't, that's going extinct. And I think that needs to be brought back into this because yes, we're sales guys. We love having the money rolling. We love our clients. We love all that stuff. But if you're not able to have a conversation, none of that stuff comes. And I think we're all in this business because we are able to speak well. We are able to connect with people. We do want to offer something better for the clients and give them their options. And I think without having the rapport and without having that connection with those people, you're never going to get the chance to explain what you do, why you do it, and how it can help them.
Yeah.
Right. So A is not good. Isn't any good without B.
Right.
Isn't any good without C, without D. Right. It's still formulaic, but it's very free flowing. It's almost like the military compared to like the '60s pot smoker movement, the hippie movement. Right. Both movements kind of worked.
Yeah.
But one was very rigid and one was very free flowing. When you care about what they care about, they care about what you care about.
Yeah, because you take the time to listen to them.
And not only that, because you've already done something that most people haven't done to them. Yeah. Most people haven't listened to them, right? So now they feel like they owe you one almost. It's my turn to listen to you now.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a deeper level of the social conditioning that you have as a person versus somebody who is operating from a place of script.
Well, here's what you can compare that to. I will never say my company name when I'm introducing myself.
Right.
I say, hey, hello, my name's Parnell Ramlo. They ask me, then because I feel, especially in this world of business, people, or even when you meet anybody, people are like, hey, so what do you do, this and that, right?
Yeah.
Well, what I do is different from who I am, right? So what I do is I connect people.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Who I am is I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a I'm a husband. You know, I'm a business partner.
There it is.
Right.
Measuring everything from a different place.
Right.
A lot of people like to measure success in some kind of tangible form, having it be numbers or, you know, a certain dollar amount or a level in the company, where you and I measure our success from the number of people we actually help.
Yes, and that's huge. Keep you going there for a second, but that's huge in our company culture.
Yes,
we set it out in the day one guidelines, right? We're going to be the type of company that helps people that needs the help.
Yes.
We don't want to take advantage of people. We don't want to sell them something they don't need.
Yeah.
We want to give them the opportunities that we can give them,
which allows us to enjoy what we're doing.
Right.
And when you come from a place of enjoying what you're doing, you enjoy helping and serving people by exploiting your own talents. Mm-hmm. You know, I developed a set of talents and skills over the years that I ran a label and over the years that I developed personal brands for musicians, like just like you, in all of the experience that you've had. You enjoyed the process to get to where you are. So having a conversation with somebody is the enjoyable part about it, where other people find that the hard thing to overcome because they're operating from a different place.
Well, especially
I need the sale to go through.
Guys from Stanford, guys from Ivy Leagues, you know, Stanford, Harvard, Wharton, business schools. People come out of there talking out of their ass about numbers and equations and blah blah blah, but business bullshit. Shut the up. Nobody wants to hear that. They're already in business. They don't. Having that business background doesn't mean you have to be a tool. Doesn't mean you have to. The tool you have to be is the one that brings the documents that are 100% laid out perfectly after you've had these connections and after you've made these people your friends. After you're dealing with people that you want to deal with. Remember, that's the first step. Never deal with somebody you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Never be in business or have a client that you wouldn't hang out and have a beer with.
Yeah. Have the right conversations at the right time with the right people, and it's not selling anymore. So that's how you do it.
Absolutely. And end it there, else I'll go forever. See you on the next one.